Yes, the realest and the illest, son. What's going on? Tusk Talk with Ty community. What's going on? Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope your Thanksgiving was fantastic. Mine was all right. Leftovers, well, the food was fantastic. I got leftovers after the post-game show on Saturday. It was great. Oh, my God. Turkey, the ham, the deviled eggs. Oh, shout out to my brother-in-law Slater, my mother-in-law Dina, father-in-law Tom, frying that turkey. It was great. It's good to see everyone, the nieces, the nephew, Max, Eva, Macy. It's good to see all my family. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay the whole time. It was good to see them when I could. I came home. The wife brought home the leftovers and chef's kiss. All right. We have a lot. We have so much to discuss. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching and I get you guys every once in a while, I'll get a tie. I don't have an account. I'm watching through my phone on Safari for whatever reason or whatever. Make a YouTube account. Come on over. Hit the subscribe button. That way you get a notification as soon as you know your boy is live. All right. Patreon supporters, appreciate you. Don't forget, sign up. Join Patreon. It is very, very active right now. I'll say that. There's the link if you want to join. There you go. We have a poll up. Does Bobby Petrino deserve a raise? And we'll get to that in a second. Why the poll is like that. All right. But again, does Bobby Petrino deserve a raise? Currently, 57% of you say yeah. Yeah, no, he deserves a raise. 59% of you. 41% at the moment say no. So again, take the poll. Heartbroken Hog, if another school is willing to pay more for one of your guys, and that means he deserves a raise if you want to keep them. LOL. What is it with millennials and LOL after every sentence? I do it too, and I don't know why I do it. I don't know why I do it. Why do we do it, guys? That's a habit we got to break. Stop with the LOL. There's nothing to LOL about sometimes, you know? Y'all dummies told me he didn't want to be a head coach again. Says that was the word on the street. That was the word, man. I mean, he said it himself, did he not? He didn't want to mess with NIL. Didn't want to mess with all that. Again, we're going to talk about just where I'm at, what I think is going on. It was already talked about a little bit in Patreon. Shout out to Courtney Mims in our Patreon chat. She and I agree 100%. So, yeah, not stopping LOL. I didn't say to stop completely the LOL, but it's like I had turkey today. LOL. Who's that for? Who's that for? Now, if it was like, at the stoplight over on Huntsville Road, I ripped a horrible fart and it smelled awful. LOL. All right, that's different, right? Okay. Like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Discord, Patreon supporters, all you guys. You help make this special, but especially Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Same day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. You best believe. Free estimates, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year. Listen, for years we were unable to park our cars in the winter in the garage. First off, it's a 2-car garage, but it's like barely a 2-car garage. I mean, it's my fat ass, I'm going to open that door. I'm going to hit my wife's car. I'm too big to be like, it would be a 1-car scenario in this garage. But if you want to be able to park your car in your garage, but you've been unable to because the door doesn't shut properly and it still gets really damn cold, you want to avoid the frost buildup, the ice on your window, call Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. They'll help you with that. They'll fix the door. They'll seal it so that way they keep most of the cold out. We know it's, unless you got a mini split like your boy does, it's really hard to keep all the cold out. But It's nice in here, man. It's like I think I got it set on 68 degrees. It feels pretty good in here. It's a habit at this point of keeping this on, my hoodie. All right. So, let's start off. Someone said in Discord, Ty, give me some good news. I'm not liking what I'm hearing lately. I want some good news. Let's start off with this. If we're talking from a recruiting standpoint, this could be good for Arkansas. Travis Williams likely not headed to Florida State. Sounds like they're going with the Nebraska guy. They're not going with they're going with Tony White. They're not going with Travis Williams. Now, I said yesterday, and I guess I should just say it now. I'm off the Travis Williams will be great at Arkansas bandwagon. I'm off of it. I thought the defense this year, not all their fault. They had some outstanding games. It's the inability to keep doing that, right? It's not building depth in the offseason. It's, they're just being a real lack of talent. And how much of that is really NIL, and how much of it is is it a development issue? You're now 2 years in. Landon Jackson really didn't do much this year, and how much of that's on Deke Adams at the end of the day, how much of that's on Travis Williams, and then it goes all the way up to Sam Pittman facilitating, getting in position to get a better caliber player on the defensive side of the ball. Sometimes the shit should roll up hills, right? But Travis Williams, where it might be possibly good news, there was, and I believe this to probably be true. However, I'm not saying he won't decommit, because these rumors started up, I think, right before we heard about Travis being connected to the defensive coordinator job at Florida State. There is still the UCF opportunity there for him, and that honestly seems like it would be a good fit. We know he's got connections there. We know he could recruit that area. That's his part of the world. It would kind of make sense actually for him to end up at UCF. But if he does stay at Arkansas, Tavion Wallace, I think your chances of keeping him committed might have gone up a little bit. I still kind of wonder about how solid he is. Is this going to be a guy that maybe opens up his recruitment the week of announcement, when they sign, not announcements, rather, early signing period, which is now just your standard signing period. It feels now like February should just be called the late signing period, and December just be your standard signing period. But, yeah, so there is that. I think your odds, and listen, we've known this for a while, Tavion is pretty tight with Travis Williams. So it helps your chances. Assuming he doesn't take another job. Assuming Florida State is just, whatever. Like, it sounds like they're, unless something falls through with Tony White, which could also happen, but it sounds like that's what's happening here. So there's maybe there's a little bit of good news for you if you really want to hang on to Tavion Wallace, the linebacker, 4-star. This dude's big time. He's big time. And, I know we've had people, I don't know if they're coping with it. I don't know what it is. We've had some people imply like it's not that big a deal if they were to lose his commitment. Guys, you've got to build some camaraderie somehow. You got to build continuity and camaraderie. You've got to build that. That starts with your recruiting class. And he's been committed for a minute now, and we know how this typically works. Like, you start to know, this is when all that happens with your fellow commitments. This is when it happens, when you start following teammates, future teammates. Of course, the portal's still a thing, so they may not be teammates. But this is where it all kind of starts, really. I mean, the team building starts when they're in high school. And then you talk about that caliber of player. It's got to start somewhere. Going into the portal, you can't portal every single position every single year. You've got to be able to naturally just grow that talent. Get someone like him here, keep him here for, God willing, 3 years, develop him, depending on who the hell's the head coach 3 years from now. But No, I think that would have been a huge loss for that class, and I think that would have been a loss for the team because I do believe his talent suggests he could be someone that fights for two deep right out the gate. He really could. Again, depending on – and I think, listen, linebacker position in the portal, I think you're probably going to lose. I think it's if you feel pretty confident when you say, yeah, they might lose at least one guy at either of those positions. We know they like to roam around with a couple of backers on the field. So, and that's the other thing too. He brings a level of talent with him, right? That's what he's bringing. He's bringing something that some of these other guys may not have. So he's not your typical 6'4", 6'3", 230, 235-pound, 4.4 running SEC linebacker. But he's certainly a really good linebacker and a guy that's ranked really high. Lasuzzo Eagle says this is going to be a shit show off season. Unbiased Bram, what's going on, man? I'm pretty chill about all this. I guess after venting and acceptance of reality, I have no burden. Wow, that's deep. Ain't no likely it's a done deal. I always say I'll wait till they sign. I mean, listen, Arkansas should know a thing or two about that. I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm sure Tony White is a done deal, but I'm just saying until the ink is dried. The thing is, all the mistakes and problems we have are very fixable. This is from Taylor Roberts. But they've been the same issues the past 5 years. Mental mistakes, penalties, turnovers, things of that nature. I see what you did there, Taylor Roberts. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I don't know what Hogs Better said, but he looks like he either deleted his comments or a mod deleted your comments. My boy Unbiased has been unburdened by what has been. Well done, sir. That warranted the Troy response right there. Hunter got lucky. Tyson bailed him out so he wouldn't hire Jans because the fan base does not like him at all right now. Says Hogs Better. Oh, you deleted because of terrible grammar. Listen, I do the same thing. I get it. Yeah, same. Jaeger Tremzinski. I'm so sad my New Orleans Saints lost. I'm gonna put my boy Ty on while I work. Hope you Hog fans are doing well. That was a closer game than it should have been. You know what's wild is I think with a halfway decent head coach, the Saints probably would have been pretty decent this year. I was wondering, the Rams came out just so cold. I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect, but they've kind of been a second half team this year. All right, so there's your good news. All right, if I'm not giving up on Travis Williams. I don't want that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not giving up on Travis. I'm off the bandwagon that he's, I don't know. I guess I did say that he could be good here. Man, we know he could pick up. We know that he's capable of grabbing some surprises, and that's certainly the case here with Tavion Wallace. I guess we have to withhold judgment. I guess we're going to give him a third year, assuming he doesn't just move on, which could still happen. At least my pro football team knows when to fire their coach. A little different with the NFL, right? But, yeah. Cameron says, Ty, chill. Why? It's only Monday morning, baby. All right. Arkansas and their rankings. We're going to switch over to basketball, then we're going to get back to football. So just hang on a second. We're going to talk Arkansas basketball rankings. And this game versus Miami, something might make you rethink your prediction. I know, Miami. Well, we'll get to it in a minute. Just something. I'm going to throw an inkling out there right now. We have the prediction up in Discord, and it is 100%. I mean, we're at 20. What are we at? 30 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Yeah, we're at 30 plus picks. Not a single vote for Miami. So I am going to throw something out there that might make you hesitate, maybe go back and delete your pick. So give me just a second. Let's talk about these net rankings here really quick. Pull up my net rankings. Arkansas right now currently 51st in the country. And Andy Katz, which is on the screen here, we have Andy Katz. Andy Katz has his 37 teams. Andy Katz moves Arkansas out completely. Arkansas is not a part of his 37. I have no problem with this. The net rankings feel adequate at 51st. Remember I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what to make of this team. And if the tournament started instead of conference play in January, would you have Arkansas in the – I know it's a very short or very small sample size. You don't have as many home games as you do away games. I get that. But just based on what we know about this team, almost think about it like a power poll instead of just your 60 or so teams in the tournament, 64 teams. Think about just where you would you put Arkansas in? And my answer right now is maybe, yeah, but like really not where you would want them to be. Like where you might be facing a 1 or 2 seed in the first round. That's where I'd probably put Arkansas. I'm not, guys, they're just bad at too many things. And their defense slips a little bit when they play a decent opponent. We've noticed they slip. Their 3-point defense was non-existent against Illinois. We talked about this. A lot of problems with this team, and there's still some problems defensively. But net rankings have you at 51st in the country. Arkansas right now in rebounds per game, they're 149th. Or rebound margin, pardon me. Rebound margin. Offensive rebounds per game, Arkansas is 331 according to stats.ncaa.org/teams. 331st in offensive rebounds. They're not getting enough offensive boards, which how you play offense does impact that quite a bit. And Arkansas is just not in a position. I think it wouldn't matter. They're not a great rebounding team. They're not even they're a not good rebounding team. They're 81st in defensive rebounds. Overall rebounding per game, they're 227. Their assist to turnover ratio right now, they're 166. My God. That is not a winning number. If you want to know what's going to get me to believe in what you're doing, it's that stat right there. And I love the blocks. What was it? Blocks and steal. They call it the was it the Mutombo stat? Is that what Cal called it? Or what one of his assistants called it it's about blocks and steals. That's cool too. That's great. But I still think the assist to turnover ratio matters. And right now Arkansas is at 1.17, 166th in the country. That number's got to be way up. At minimum for me to start buying into you. And yeah, it's early. I get you. It's early. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's December 2nd. Like, this is that point in which you need to see a turnaround. You've now got several games under your belt at home on a neutral floor. You're gonna be at Miami tomorrow. Got to get your shit together for me to start to buy. Now I'll give you that. I'm gonna give you my pre-SEC pick after their last non-conference game. We'll talk about it that week. But right now, as of today, I would put them in the tournament, but man, just by the skin of their teeth. Their stats are bad, and they have time to make up for this, right? They got plenty of time. I say plenty of time. They've got some games that will allow them some moments to maybe pad some stats like everybody likes to do. When it really matters is when you're starting to look at February. You remember we used to talk about that with Mike Anderson. He could never flip February and January. He always put so much pressure on February. And Musselman did too. Let's not act like he didn't either. There's really only like 1, maybe 2 years where you felt like, all right, no, we're in a good situation walking into February. I could be. It is Monday. lend me some grace. But I feel like it was only once, maybe twice, where we felt really confident going into February. And it seems like with Cal, that could be the same case. You're going to put so much pressure on the month of February where you're now looking at, well, we got to win this game on the road. We got to beat these guys at home. We can't lose another home game. That's what you don't want to do. That's what Mike Anderson always struggled with. All of a sudden, those final 2 weeks of February, we're like, oh, shit. We've got to win some games here. Can't lose anything. And it puts so much pressure on everybody. Fans too, right? I mean, we're already putting pressure on fans. Or why aren't they showing up? They're selling the tickets, but by God, they're not showing up to the games. Arkansas, the one area I will say I have liked that has been pretty good, it's been the turnovers. They're averaging right now about 16.7 per game, which puts them at 17th in the country. That's actually a really good number, but you're still some careless turnovers. I don't know. Maybe I'm I don't feel like they get into a ton of foul trouble. I will say that's another thing that stood out. They're ranked right now in free throw attempts per game at 205. They're at 19 shot attempts per game. I don't know if that's 19 shots or if that's 19 trips. Free throw attempts. So 205 in the country in that category. Free throws made per game, they're at 13.9. Okay, there you go. 196th in the country. And again, sometimes that just comes down to style of play. We know Musselman wanted that number way up. This would be really bad in Musselman's eyes. A little bit different. A lot of things to work on. You're getting left behind in the dust. Everyone else, Auburn, everyone in the SEC, maybe you could argue Alabama slipping some. They're out of the they're dropping in a lot of these different polls and rankings and whatnot. They're starting to drop a little bit. So Bears fan in here. Oh God. Yeah. They fired their coach right on time, didn't they? Appreciate the retweets. I see you, Philip, Michael Kerper. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Again, take the poll. Does Bobby Petrino deserve a raise? 65% of you right now at yes. I'm actually surprised by this. I was thinking of 3 different polls, and this was one of them, and this is actually not my favorite one this morning. But I just ended up because we're gonna really talk about that. We're gonna get in on that, not just him, but also Sam Pittman. All right, Arkansas playing Miami. Yeah, they're bad. They're not a good basketball team. They're not. They started the year off averaging like 95 points a game. Fair now, to be fair, it's who you're playing here. Fair Dickinson 113-72 was a win for them at home. Binghamton, I don't know, 88-64. So they were able to hold Miami under 90 points, but they still lost by a pretty good margin. Coppin State. They beat by 30 points, 93-63. Again, if you're a Miami fan, you know how this is. Like, oh, we're averaging 90-something points a game. We're great. Then they go on a losing streak. They lose to Drake 80-69. Hey, I see you, John Haas, retweeting. Appreciate you, man. 80-69. Now, this was I think this was their tournament, this little thing they played in Charleston, South Carolina. They played like shit. They lost to Oklahoma State 80-74, which is okay, not bad. Maybe Oklahoma State's decent. They're not really. They're okay, but not great. VCU, they lost by 77-70. And then they lost to Charleston Southern 83-79. So they're riding a 4-game losing streak, one of those at home. So they have lost 1 game at home. But they're not they're still like, yeah, they're poopy. They're 3-4 right now. They are favored. They are favored over Arkansas on the matchup predictor, which used to be called the BPI, which was the basketball power index. That's what it was. It's now called the matchup predictor, but they like Miami at 52, almost 53%. Which they're the home team. You're always going to give them like 15, 20. You know, it's you're a power 4 team at home. You're going to get 15, 20% added on, right? Here's what stands out about Miami, and this is what I was saying. This might, based on what Arkansas did this last game, mostly have been pretty decent against three-point shooting. They've only given up 30% plus, 31% plus twice this year. It's not bad. Their perimeter defense has been pretty good. What concerns you, number one, is this is on the road. I don't think Miami, I could be shocked. I don't think they're fans. It's Miami, Florida. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll show up. It's John Calipari. It's the Razorbacks. Maybe that'll bring somebody to the table. Here's what concerns me. Opening game, three-point shooting, they shot 41% outside. That's outside against Fairleigh Dickinson. Yeah, I know. Consider the opponent. But just saying, Binghamton, they shot 36% outside. Coppin State, better watch your wallet, 52%. I mean, come on, with a name like Coppin, what? Coppin State? You ever heard someone say, I'm going to cop that? Yeah, copping that. 52%. That's what they shot outside, man. 52%. Charleston Southern, they shot 36% outside. So that's a little concerning, these guys at home. Those are all their home numbers. They're shooting at minimum like, I don't know, what's that average at? Like 40% outside shooting. I think the average attempt at home is 20. I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess. I was looking at it, and I didn't write it down, but I think it's at least 27 attempts. So we know they're going to be in the 20-plus category outside shooting, and they're shooting probably around 40% overall at home. Again, I'm not good at math. 41, 36, 52, 36. That's their percentage numbers of shooting outside. So that might make you rethink a little bit. However, who they've lost to, not great. Start off the year really hot. And if you look at Miami on the year, Nigel Pack is actually a pretty good player for them. He's averaging like 15 points, I think 6 assists per game. 5. I'm sorry, 5 assists per game. Lynn Kidd, their center, their 6'10" center. He's 72% on the year. We know, I mean, come on, he's playing around the hoop. He's playing around the rim, baby. They're averaging about 84 points a game, which is top 50 in the country. That's actually where you want to be, right? You want to be in that top 50, top 40. That means you're at least above average when you compare yourself to the rest of the field. Rebounds per game, they're atrocious. They're 313th in the country in rebounds. They don't have a ton of size. They're guards. They're the three that get the most minutes, I think, are averaging about 6'2" in height. Not a lot of length to play with there. They're a 14.4 assists per game team, which puts them at 172nd in the country. And then they're allowing north of 74 points per game. So not a good team. They're looking to rebound. They're looking to restart their season, and why not do it against Coach Cal? You know you're going to have a target on your back just because he's your head coach. There's going to be a little bit of, Cal's Hall of Fame coach coming to our arena, right? Razorbacks got a little bit of history there. They're coming into our house. This is going to be a game. I don't know how many people show up for them. Florida has a reputation for their fans just not giving a shit. You know what I mean? In general, that state. Who knows? Maybe there's a lot of people there, but this shouldn't be a hostile environment. God, knock on wood. But I do like Arkansas here, but I'm a little bit concerned if Arkansas plays anything like what they did with their perimeter defense, like they did against Illinois. Miami might make 50% of their damn shots. They might make 15 to 30, and you've got an entirely different ballgame. If you could chase them out off the perimeter, force them to play you with some size inside, especially with Brazil, now your bigs are getting healthier. You're starting to figure out, like, let's get out of this square peg round hole on offense. Let's figure this thing out. Let's play with some size. Let's post up a little more. Let's switch off these screens a little quicker on defense. Let's see some more backdoor cutters. Let's trap them. Let's play with a little bit more full court press because we're starting to get a little bit healthier. I know there's still guys that are a little banged up, but this is probably, unless I'm missing someone, this is probably about the healthiest you've been. So here's your moment to stand out one way or another. I know it's against Miami. They're not good, whatever, but it's a Power 4 team on the road. Arkansas has not been great away from Bud Walton. Hell, they've not even been great inside Bud Walton. But go on the road, get a win, and let's hit the reset button moving forward. The same thing Miami's trying to do. This could be a fight. I would probably take Arkansas, I don't know, single digits, maybe 10, 12 points. But the fact that they're playing on the road and a team who can get hot at home is a little bit concerning. AD will be crucial. We need him, says Boogie Flan for 3. 100% agree. You're going to need him, Zvonimir, Brazil. You're going to need great play from your point guards, like, Boogie Flan. You're going to need guys to heat up. You're going to need guys to heat up. And this isn't a game I don't think you have to live and die by taking 28, 33s outside. Play closer to the rim, and I think you've got a pretty good shot here at taking this one. This, realistically, talent-wise, Miami's got some ballers, but no, this should be close on paper. This should be plus 15, should lead the majority of the game by double digits. You should be able to – Arkansas's not been able to build many leads this year and keep them for very long, but this should be that kind of matchup against a P4 opponent where you feel like you should be able to dominate. But, again, we're not seeing that production on the floor just yet from Arkansas. Maybe this is that moment, right? I don't know. Hogs go 2-0 versus Miami and Michigan, says Swaggy. That's one team I have not kept up with this year's Michigan. So Pack is their point guard. He's their little 6'1" point guard, averaging about 5 assists. Now, these guys are shooting 36% all year, no matter where. They are an 82% free throw shooting team, which is impressive. And they're shooting just like Arkansas, right around 49, 50% overall from the floor. They're turning the ball over a little much, almost into double digits per game. They're averaging about 3 blocks. They're only getting about 6 steals a game. But they are about plus 4, plus 5 in the assist to turnover ratio. Again, 34 boards per game. Like, this is a game you should dominate. You should rack up some OREB, some offensive rebounds. This should be one of those games. We'll see. Pack's getting about 30 minutes per game. Blackman, another one of their guards, 6'2" guard. He's played in all 7. Pack's only played in 6. Blackman with 25 minutes a game. Brandon Johnson, this is a guy that will take threes. He will shoot threes, and he's shooting 39% this year. And again, Pack's shooting 44%. Again, these are things that concern you a little bit. Lynn Kidd has been a pretty good inside piece for them. 11 points, 6 boards per game. He leads the way as far as rebounds. Just trying to look for something maybe I missed. Matthew Cleveland, one of their lengthier guards. He kind of plays like a 3 or a 4 on the floor. He's averaging about 9 points, 4, almost 5 rebounds per game. So. Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing, too. They probably can play realistically. Miami could probably play, well, what'd they do in their game against Charleston Southern? I think they had about a nine player rotation. Yeah, 9. 9-player rotation. They could play with 9. They could probably go 10 if they have to. Arkansas is probably going to be looking at that 8-man rotation. Again, you're getting a little bit healthier. You're going to need, this is another game. Nelly's back in Florida. I'd love to see Nelly just pop off, wouldn't you? I would. All right. I don't know if we know how to own the paint. Well, they need to play better around the post. I want to see some more cleanup around the rim. I want to see offensive boards. I want to see rebound. I want you to crash the boards. Nail these guys down, man. And I think this is a game where you might be able to do that. Not to say they don't have any size, but this feels like a game where you might be able to, right? Yeah, I want to see start Richmond over Nelly. There you go, and let Nelly be on the bench and the primary ball handler like he was at FAU instead of keeping him at the corner like a statue. Richmond, this could be another one of those games for Richmond. I'm curious what they do with Richmond. I'm curious what his minutes look like going into this game. Or coming out of it, rather. I'm curious what his minutes will look like. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. We saw this picture. Let's focus on this right here. Bobby Petrino headed to Charlotte. They're trying to fill their head coaching vacancy. Take that in. Now, the reports are, and I think it was Brandon Marcello on Twitter said that Bobby was back in his office today. That doesn't necessarily mean, listen, he could have gone, he could have interviewed, that's what he did, right? But I'm saying he's back. Maybe they want to interview a couple other people. But Bobby did leave to go on a plane to Charlotte. Again, it's being reported he's back. This is a loaded potato. This is a very loaded potato. Again, the poll is, does Bobby deserve a raise? Here's the question. Is this a bluff for the very reason why we have this poll up? Is this a bluff for Bobby to get more money? Because the question is, does Bobby deserve a raise? Now, 67% of you say yes, he does. Now, we're going to go down the entire list here, and I'm not, my thing is the market demands what the market demands. You have to look at what you were doing a year ago versus what you did today, and there is some good here, and there's also some bad. There's also some questions about his choice of quarterback. There's some questions about some of the play calling this year not being – what did we say when they were talking about Bobby being the guy? I said I don't think – and I said this before there was ever a rumor of him coming to Arkansas to return to be the offensive coordinator. I said 2011 Bobby Petrino is not walking in those doors. Some of this did surprise me. Some of the things we're going to look at did actually surprise me. Let's read this super chat really quick. Ty, I don't think either coordinator is going anywhere, but unless they kill it in the portal, we will suck again. Next year's schedule is tough. I bet you they get spanked by Notre Dame next year. I get it. Let's look at some numbers here. Now, I'm not going to be able to put them on screen, but I'll just tell you. Arkansas did improve in total yardage. Last year, they averaged 326 yards per game. That's 107th in the country. That's what they finished at last year. 326 yards per game. Arkansas this year, 451 yards this year alone per game. That's good enough for 13th in the country. Now, from a yardage standpoint, let's not sit here and act like that's meaningless. Let's not act like that's not an area of improvement and that it means absolutely nothing. The offense is primarily why Arkansas is going bowling. Primarily. It's also their screw-ups why you lost 6 games, or a big part of the reason, right? It's a multi-layered shit sandwich, as I've reported before. But yeah, that's a pretty significant jump. That's unbelievable. Just a total yardage. Now, let's go down the list here. Again, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Third down offense. First 6 weeks of the year, Arkansas was a top 10, top 5 third down, top 8 third down offense. They ended up 43rd, converting 43% of those third downs through 12 games. They converted 65 of 151 third down attempts, 43%. You want to be north of 45. You want to be as close to 50 as humanly possible with what's considered reachable in the SEC. Now, first down offense. This is total first downs per game. They were 8th in the country, 294 total. 142 of those were passing first downs. 137 were rushing. Passing offense. Arkansas was 22nd in the country at 269 yards per game. They threw the ball for a grand total of 3,200 yards. We know that Talon was under that. He didn't have 3,000 yards passing. We got to factor in Malachi there. 9 interceptions. They were 244 completed throws of 393 attempts. So, again, 269. yards per game through the air. That's good enough for 22nd in the country. Rushing offense, again, another area where you were really good, top 10 in the country. Jaquindon Jackson, when he was healthy, was a force of nature. We got to see Russell a little bit when he was healthy. Looked really damn good. Arkansas finishes 43rd. 4.8 yards, almost 4.9 yards per carry. 32 rushing touchdowns. That surprised me. I didn't realize it was that many. 182 yards per game on the ground. Total offense, like we mentioned, 451 yards per game, 13th in the country. Let's talk about why you lost 6 games. Let's talk about the bad and why maybe you should rethink what you want to give Bobby. The stat that matters the absolute most when we're talking about total, we're just talking about the total offensive production. Red zone, let's start with red zone. 59th in the country. 59th. Just 7 red zone passing touchdowns, 29 rushing touchdowns, 6 field goals made. We know they missed a couple of field goals inside the red zone. 85% scoring. Again, that's not a great number. It's not atrocious, but when you start getting north of about 90%, that's not good. That means you're not automatic as you would want to be, right? 85 is not a horrible number, but it's 59th in the country. Turnovers lost. 22 turnovers lost this year. Eventually, that is a reflection of coaching. It just is, man. It just is. You're letting the guy, Taylon Green, Jackson had some trouble with the fumbles, DeBinion fumble. I mean, receivers fumbled the damn ball. Everyone fumbled the damn ball. Eventually, that is a reflection of coaching. 22 fumbles? I can understand like 10, 12. Like, all right, 22? That's 100. That's tied for 114th. That's tied with Auburn. Auburn fans will tell you that's an insane number. 16 interceptions. They led the country in balls on the ground, I think's what was reported. 13. No, I'm sorry. 9 interceptions, 13 fumbles lost. That's just absurd. That's not a winning number. And again, I'm going to say that is a because you work on this stuff in practice. I've seen it. Ask any member of media who was able to go to practice during spring and fall camp. This is something any practice. They have these big tubes, and at the end they've got like this boxing glove at the end, and they're hitting the ball carriers. They're trying to mess them up, trying to loosen that ball up. This is stuff they work on. They do it in practice in all sorts of different ways. 13 fumbles lost, 9 picks, 22 turnovers lost. Let's talk about scoring offense. Here's the key thing. 49th in the country. 46 total touchdowns, 30 points per game. Again, not atrocious, but that's not a great number. You want to talk about what the hell we can talk about the quarterback development, right? We can talk about Taylon Green. We can talk about him fumbling the ball, missing reads, underthrowing, overthrowing guys left and right. And I think some of that has just got to get worked out in development in the offseason. I hope some of those aren't habits that he just carried over with him from Boise State, which could be the case. But this is stuff they're going to have to work on in the offseason for sure. But Taylon Green single-handedly kept drives going and also single-handedly stopped drives from continuing. I said it at the beginning of the year, the first several games, I said, guys, he is a double-edged sword if I've ever seen one. He could help you or he could kill you. And losing Bobby Petrino, this is what it comes back to. And we're going to get to the Pittman stuff here in a second. But again, let's live in that he's coming back land for just a second, kind of jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit. Do you want to replace Bobby? I mean, do you trust Sam to go out and get another offensive coordinator who's going to make that big of a jump when you talk about total offense? And yeah, these other numbers are bad. They're not good. Taylon Green, I just think the guy should have been benched a couple times this year. I think there should have been a quarterback battle. I think there should have been a dispute. I'm not saying Taylor Green. I'm not on board with what some of you say, or he's just awful, he's terrible. Throw him, lock him up, throw away the key. I'm not in that camp. I want to see what the development looks like, but I want a real quarterback battle. I think that's where this was a mistake. Green, I don't think, was ever worried about losing his starting job. That, to me, is a mistake. Now, how much of that is Sam? How much of that is Bobby? I don't know. Sam said from the beginning, this is his offense. I'm going to let him do his thing, so I'm going to assume it's Bobby. That is something that's really tough to look at. If we're going to assume this is on Bobby, why was there not more of a quarterback battle? Where was the actual did he get better? Yes. Were his passes, did it seem like he was in sync with the rest of his receivers at times, especially Andrew Armstrong? Yes. Did he deliver some absolute insane throws that ended up dropped, or a DB made a hell of a play? Yeah. Again, that throw to Centennial was just crazy. I'm still, I rewatched that. Oh, my God. Had Centennial caught that? Had that DB not – boys, that was a hell of a throw on the run. That's what Green brings to the table. He can be exciting. The problem is it's too inconsistent. He holds on to the ball too much. It felt like none of this was ever really worked on. There were other mechanics. There were other things that seemed like they did work on, but let's not move the pocket with Green, I guess. Let's not dial up more screens when we're seeing pressure. Let's not, I will say this, his play action throwing against Missouri was really good. I think he was, I want to say 7 of 8 off play action, which is great. That's the best. I think that's the best number I saw all year, looking at the deeper analytics. There's just so many times this year where we're like, what are they doing? Why are you in shotgun with Green, who puts the ball on the field more than anybody, and we're surprised when he fumbles the ball and the defense recovers? Not that there was a ton of that this year, but there was some of that. I would say I don't know that I trust Sam to go get another coordinator. Listen, was Travis Williams an upgrade from Barry Odom? That's the question I'm going to have for you guys. I don't know. Barry Odom wasn't that great to begin with. In terms of what his defense did on the field, I just don't think it was that good. They had good moments. Jalen Catalon, Hudson Clark's game against Mississippi State. Some of the games early on, yeah, all right. And then the second half of the season unfolded, and they were terrible. A lot of that's just depth, guys getting hurt. Losing Jalen Catalon was tough, losing all the guys that got banged up. But true, fair, whatever. I don't know that Travis Williams was that big of an upgrade, but I don't know. I guess if he's going to stick around, we got to give him a third year. You gave Barry 3. Let's give Travis 3, assuming you don't lose him. The jury's out, I think, on that one. Bobby was an upgrade, and I think you got to pay him. I agree with the 67% of you. I think you got to give him his raise. Now, how much? I don't know. Should he be the highest paid coordinator in the SEC? No. Whatever his number is, I think it's 1.5. If you want to give him 1.7, 1.8, whatever. Charlotte, I don't know what they're willing to pay him. I don't know. We know a school like that probably not going to. I mean, we know they're not going to come close to what a head coach would make in a Power 4 conference for sure. But I don't know. I've been to Charlotte twice. Not a kind of a rough town, but maybe they've got some really uber rich donors. I don't know, but every school's got one or two that you're just kind of surprised by. Like, wait, what? He went there? He's giving money there? What? I say you give it to him. I'm not saying you give him the world. You try to compete. I guess maybe that should have been the poll. Do you offer him just do you give him competitive pay? Whatever the market says that he's worth, do you give him that? And I think you probably have to, because I don't know. One thing I like is continuity. And if you notice, a lot of teams that kept their coordinators or the same style of offense, quarterback coaches, whatnot, and they came back with that quarterback or even their backup quarterback, you saw some teams this year tear it up. They got better. I don't know if that's going to happen here or not. I know a lot of people are they just believe Green is trash. He's never going to improve. I don't know. You know him better than I do, but I know it does seem like what he did at Boise State did kind of follow him here. However, he had over 3,000 total yards of offense. He just put the ball on the field too much, and he was behind his receivers and held on to the ball too often. Maybe that's something they can get fixed. Maybe moving forward, assuming Bobby stays, you give him some kind of raise. Assuming Malachi hits the portal, because I think that's what's going to happen, then you're going to want to give Green the best weapons possible. So that's what you do, and you're going to want to give him the best protection possible. So then you need to build on offense. Maybe that should be their philosophy. Build up that offense. Turn it into something unbelievable. Because I don't know if they're going to have the funds to do that on both sides of the ball. They're going to have to figure out with this revenue sharing how to balance that out. And I don't know how you do it. So I'm on board with giving him an extension. How much of one, I don't know. Whatever the standard extension would be, I guess. Just getting here, so I don't know if you've already talked about it, but thoughts on Travis Williams possibly leaving for the UCF head coaching job. I think it's a possibility for sure. But I don't know. Someone's saying that UCF has already got their guy, so I would be surprised if he ended up at UCF, but it wouldn't shock me either, though, right? I mean, with his connections there. What's more important, though? Money for head coaches, assistants, or using the money for better NIL for player? Well, again, outpatient 1988. That's two different. That's two different things. NIL comes from collectives and Arkansas Edge, right? I mean, how the university splits that up with revenue sharing, I don't know. I don't know how that gets mixed up with coaches' salaries exactly. A lot of this does change. It does with revenue sharing for sure. It'd be an Arkansas thing to let a better head coach candidate walk away for a proven inferior current coach, and for what reason? Let's get MAC talent like Indiana did. Well, to be fair, those were his players. Those were his players. Those were his guys. Taylor Green will leave for the NFL. He's got some crazy athleticism, but he needs I don't know. Thanks, Ty. You're finally explaining the quarterback situation exactly like I agree. Oh, all right. For a few, sit the NIL starter when not performing. Yes. And if the backup don't perform, or when they stop performing, put NIL start. All right. If Bobby P wants to be head coach or wants to head coach, it should be here unless we can show a better candidate. Well, he's returning. So let's move on to the final part here, which is Sam. We're going to take that down. This is from Brett McMurphy. We're just going to have it take up the whole screen here. Brett McMurphy reporting Arkansas coach Sam Pittman will return in 2025. Source close to program told the Action Network headquarters. Brett's a trusted guy. There was speculation Pittman may retire, but Pittman, 29, 31 with 3 bowl games, will return for a 6th season at the U of A. He is scheduled to undergo hip replacement surgery on Tuesday, which would be tomorrow. So, yeah, there it is. He's not going anywhere. Sam's not going anywhere. This shouldn't shock anybody. No, there's not a 3 p.m. No, there's not a 3 p.m. Presser. In fact, I've not gotten anything. I don't know that we're going to hear from Sam or anybody. I mean, obviously not Sam, but oh my God. I've got about 50 unread emails. I don't see anything from the U of A. Got something for track and field here. So no announcement today, so it's unlikely we're going to hear anything from anyone at the University of Arkansas. It'd be nice if they trotted out Bobby Petrino, wouldn't it? Hey, Bobby, what's going on, man? That'd be insane. They're not going to do that. But yeah, there you go. Sam's back. So I think the best thing moving forward, you may not like it. I don't know how else to – I don't know what their other options are. If Bobby takes that job, do you have faith – there's the other poll, right? Do you have faith that he'd be able to go out and get someone to do the job better, to get another offensive coordinator that can I don't know, score points. Great. He gets a bunch of yards. Awesome. What are you doing as far as scoring? I mean, what do you do with the quarterback situation? If Bobby goes, you're probably going to lose both Malachi and Green. I don't know, man. Maybe not. Maybe you can convince one or both of them to stay. To end the misery of all Arkansas fans, end all sports and shut it down. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Are the aliens coming to do Pittman surgery? Oh. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I've been seeing these videos of these guys pointing their lasers at these weird blinking lights in the sky. Been seeing a lot of those lately. What's going on? Ty, Bobby leaves. Who would Sam hire that would excite this fan base? This situation could become a firestorm. That's my point, Jeremy Gray. That's my point. It would go from what it is now to worse, I think. Your best bet is to continue with the continuity of the offense and have Malachi and Green battle it out in the offseason and go get yourself some better skill position players. You got to replace Armstrong, who, by the way, I don't think he's going to play in the bowl game. For the 12 of you that care about that, I don't think that you're going to have. Well, we know for sure he's not. I say for sure. He kind of put a tweet out there that seemed like he's probably not gonna. Like, this is it, right? Imagine how many times they told players how not to carry the. Yeah. Well, y'all are a hoot today. I don't understand why people were surprised this morning when they announced Pittman was coming back. I feel like we already knew that. Yeah, we did, Tony. We did. It's good to see you, man. I haven't seen Tony Brown around. I know you're here for basketball mostly. You can always tell the people who've they're just not really into football because some of this stuff is just not news to them. It's like, yeah, no, we know that. Yeah. All right. I'd rather fire Pittman and start from the bottom. At least we will have legitimate reason for loosing. This is Brian Lowe. Listen, it's not happening. Like I said, you can see it right there on your screen. It's not happening. And we did. For everyone who's saying that they reported it first, I don't know who reported it first really, but we certainly were right on top of it, and I know Patreon chat was as well. A lot of people love to talk about how we told you. Yeah, everybody was saying that. The only hope that Hog fans had was the second year of Petrino offense. If he leaves, the fan base will become the ultimate meh party, says Mike. Yeah, I think that is your ultimate hope is the second year of a Petrino offense. And it's weird that, I mean, think about it. Think about it from when he was hired, fans went crazy. And they went nuts. And now we're talking about it, and you feel like the reception from fans is like, yeah, I don't really care. I guess maybe to be fair, maybe some folks after the Petrino hire, they thought, well, now we're going to win 8 or 9 games, and that didn't happen, and that's why they're not as excited. Maybe, I don't know. Steven 1383 heard it here first. Water is wet, and yes, a single water molecule can saturate the other molecules around it. So water is, in fact, wet. Hogs Better says no matter who is the quarterback, they will do poorly without a good wide receiver room. I agree. They've got to listen. If you want your best chance of success, is to whoever's at quarterback, give them someone to throw the ball to, and hopefully, a quarterback who can get on the same page with more than just a couple of receivers, a guy that can survey the field a little quicker. I think that was something Green did struggle with. Again, more stuff that has to be worked on. Not all of that is surprising. As I've said before, Petrino's offense is not super simple. You're not just going to know it like that. Make sure you like, share. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Consider joining Patreon, where we give away we give away several former Arkansas player cards that are autographed for legendary status members. There's Patreon right there. If you want to really take advantage of Patreon, you need to be in Discord. That's how this works. Get inside Discord, baby. Get inside there. Well, that sounded. Pause. Get in Discord. Make sure you link your account. Real easy to do. Join Patreon. Join Discord. And then all you do is you link your Discord to Patreon. And in fact, it does it for you on the website, as I've been told. I was hyped about Bobby 2 at first, and now I can be honest and say I was delusional, says Brian Lowe. I mean, some of it, it's not surprising. Some of the better offenses in the country had continuity from the year before. Maybe Arkansas, oh, God, this is weird to say. I don't know if it's going to happen, and it feels almost like we're really reaching here, but maybe that could be Arkansas next year. It's the continuity factor that does matter, but you've got to stack that. You've got to get better protection. Now, to be fair, I thought against Missouri, and I need to clarify something. I had someone tell me that they disagreed with me on my offensive line take. Yeah, they had penalties, but pass protection-wise, up until later in the second half, I thought they were pretty good. I thought the offensive line, like, you can't put Saturday on the offensive line. And Green wasn't terrible, but we know what happens. As soon as there's pressure, he just kind of buckles. And then he takes a sack for 15 yards. It makes, a sack on first down shouldn't kill a drive the way that it can with Arkansas, or the way that it did. So some of it, it's not necessarily delusional. Again, we talked about the numbers. We talked about how much better they were in some categories on offense. But the ones that matter the most, it's got to get better. The rookie numbers, got to get them up. Your wide receiver number one right now, this is from Hogs Better, is Centennia. And I think Centennia's a good receiver, but he isn't wide receiver one. Again, that's from Hogs Better. Jasmine Braddock says, who cares if Bobby leaves? Apparently he thought a dud quarterback was more important than Arkansas winning games. All caps priorities. Well, Jasmine, I mean, I don't know that. I think what he was trying to do was he felt like Green was the better option. That doesn't mean he didn't want what's best for Arkansas. I think he thought Green would be that guy. He just should have probably, fired some warning shots across the bow. And the way you do that is you maybe don't let him start that next week, and you see what Malachi can do. I think he just wanted to grow and develop Green, and he probably knew this is a 2-year deal. However, I like I said, and I probably should have pointed this out, I think the reason why Bobby is doing this, why Bobby's doing this, is for some leverage. It's for leverage. I think he knows, I don't know that my numbers will stand. My numbers by themselves may not be enough for me to get some kind of an extension or some kind of raise. So I'm going to do what my agent tells me to, and I'm going to go interview for this head coaching vacancy at Charlotte and see if that maybe moves the needle. I mean, and it may not be a bluff. Hell, he may really take it, or it might start out as a bluff, and then he might really end up out there. I don't know. All the way out in Charlotte. Appreciate the super chat by Christopher Cox. Thanks, man. You're awesome. If Bobby does leave, I wouldn't be mad if Talon left too. Oh boy. Again, Swaggy, my issue is, are you going to get someone that's better? Are you going to get someone who's better or as good as a coordinator? Again, you can argue what he did at quarterback wasn't enough this year, and maybe that's enough for fans to not be excited about him coming back. I don't know. I think there's room to grow. I think history says that Bobby's, another year under Bobby's offense, likelihood of you being better is there. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. We averaged 26 points per game under Enos. We finished 30 points per game this year. It wasn't just yards per game. Okay, fair enough, but that's not a huge increase there. You definitely want to be above 30 points per game. 30 points per game it ain't it. The turnovers, the mistakes, the penalties, your quarterback being just what he was this year. It's just got to do better. I'm not asking for perfection from Green either. I'm not. I promise I'm not. There was some things that kid did this year that was just wow. Had Broden only not dropped those touchdowns in the end zone, had Centennia held on to the one earlier in the year, the one against Mizzou was just a hell of a play by the defender. But we've seen Green just do some crazy shit. Let's not sit here and act like that never happened. Let's not sit here and act like there weren't some drives. He just put the team on his shoulders and made it happen. Again, it's that other stuff that it's just like that those mistakes, those things got to come down. And again, that's why Malachi, there shouldn't have been a guaranteed number one quarterback, right? I mean, first year with Petrino, I don't know. We're most of our yards and pints in just 2 games had played. Well, actually, Kelly in SEC play, they averaged over 400 yards per game. It was 400 and up until the Missouri game, I think it was 407. And to be fair, Missouri's defense is salty. You're playing in snow. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That was a given that those two offenses were going to struggle for sure. But actually, no. In SEC play, their yardage was respectable. Now, how they did versus the rest of the SEC, I don't know. I don't know what Enos's numbers were in just SEC play. I don't think they were 400 yards per game. I know for a while it was again, going into the Missouri game, I think it was 25 points per game in SEC play. That number might be a little off. I'm not sure. Christopher Cox with a $5 super chat says, Ty, who we going to get to come in and catch the ball? We get back Centennia and we'll Has leave. We have to get receivers. I don't know. The portal, we haven't even talked about the portal this week. The portal could be nuts. It really could. Jeremy Gray says, Ty, you appear to be quite certain that Petrino returns, and you may be absolutely right. But what if he does not? That is what is interesting to me. This situation change. Jeremy, you must be late. We talked about that. We already talked about that. We discussed that there's the possibility you're going to have to replace Petrino. I never said that like I said, this might be a bluff with Charlotte that could lead to being a realistic scenario. I would lean on this being a bluff. I don't know. He did say he didn't want to deal with all the NIL and all that. Like this is something he told Hogs Plus, right? This is something he told, not really the media, but Hogs Plus. Well, no, he did tell the media this. He didn't want to deal with all that crap. Let Hunter Yurchek and Sam. He just wants to coach the offense. Now, what's Bobby's track record with honesty? It's not great. So yeah, I mean nothing's for certain. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't read minds. I don't know. Oh, here comes Camo with his super negative takes. Boy, I love this one. BP can leave. He's never won a GD thing. Seriously, people, wake up. All right, buddy. Calm down. Don't get timed out. There's a mod lurking. Don't get timed out, Camo. I mean, you're already being a little you're antagonizing already, my man. He hasn't. What do you mean? Are 21 wins his last 2 years here is that not winning anything? Giving Arkansas's only BCS appearance? That's nothing? God, dude. Just Ty, it's hard to get your hopes up when it's the same results every year. Kicks. I feel like that's almost a copy and paste response anymore. I get that, man. No one is sitting here telling you to get your hopes up high. I'm not telling you to get your hopes up high. I can tell you what I think could happen, and there could be some good things that happen. If your hopes get high because of that, then that's on you, not me, right? I'm just telling you what I think could happen. Maybe year 2, the offense is scoring more points. Maybe it's just 2 more points a game, which really isn't much. It's not a whole lot. maybe you get 20 more yards a game. You know, maybe you're averaging 420 per game in the SEC play. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that could happen. I'm not saying that that's going to result in more wins. I'm saying that that could be a result of him coming back. That's all I'm saying. Steven says if Petrino leaves, I'm going to be more pissed at Hunter Yurachek than Bobby Petrino. No way Hunter Yurachek should keep Pitt and let Petrino leave. And Pitt coming back for sure. He has it. Cam, I just gave you examples where Petrino has accomplished something when he was here as a head coach. What are you talking about, dude? That's unhinged. That's letting the moment get the better of you because the results haven't been what you wanted the last 2 or 3 years. Don't sit here and act like Petrino didn't do anything. That's absurd. When he was the head coach here, there were people that were so convinced, and now looking back at it, rightfully so, that if you fired Petrino in 2012, they wouldn't get back to that point. And guess what? You haven't. So take the absurdity on somewhere, man. That's just absurd. Hold the L and just move on. South Carolina OC, bring Sellers. Well, you know who that is, right? You know who that offensive coordinator is. Sounds like someone else needs to be unburdened by what has been. God, I wish I had that clip. Oh, I'm going to have to go get that clip now. We're going to have to just go get it. Oh, man. Mr. Kick says, I do want Petrino back, but if he leaves, then let's go after an offensive coordinator who has head coach experience. Well, I mean, it's not like you could just, walk outside and grab one of those, right? I mean, Outpatient 1988 says BP could also yell and tear into players to get them to get the team where he needed. Pittman won't allow that to happen. Did you see him? There was once where the camera was on Pittman, and it might have been let's be real, it was probably a green mistake. Pittman Bobby Petrino very clearly furious. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie, man. That felt pretty good to see that. Why are you not ripping into your players' asses, Sam? Why? Where's the energy? And I know his hip. I get it, man. That's got to be pain. Well, I don't get it because I don't know that pain. I know he's in pain. This year, I'll kind of give him that. But in years past, you don't see him rip into these players. And I think he's kind of admitted before that's just not the kind of guy he is. Sometimes there's just one way to get results, and that's to just break your foot off in someone's ass. Sometimes that's just what it takes. Sometimes there's just players that respond better to that, and it shows that their coach cares. I don't know. I mean, say what you want about Bobby. I'll agree. He's selfish and he's not got a great history with honesty and all that. I agree. But there's no doubt in my mind that man wants to win. And you see it on the field. And that little bit that we saw against Missouri was very refreshing for me. I was so just with what we saw against Mizzou, I just didn't discuss it in the post game. It kind of slipped my mind. But I thought about that yesterday and this morning. Man, that was good to see. It just was. And I'm not saying Pittman doesn't care. I know he loves his players. I know how most of them, not all of them, I know how they feel about the guy. I get it. But, man, it's good to see a coach just rip in old school like they used to, right? It's just so good to see that. I'm open for him to come back. I want to see what they can do. I don't know that they're going to be able to replace someone like that. Pittman's returning. Just face facts. It is what it is. All right? I'll put it up there again. It is what it is. All right? And let's hope that this and him being in his office, let's just hope that that's nothing. Because I just hate to say it, I don't know that I trust Sam to go out and get someone as good or better. I'm not saying it's impossible if Petrino, and yes, for whoever that was in chat who said I seem to be assured that he's coming back, that Bobby's coming back. I'm not. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not 100% sure. But I don't know that I trust Sam, especially after the Enos hire and with some of the other assistants he's brought on, and I don't know that I trust him to go out and get someone that can change this. Now, to be fair, I thought Kendall Briles was a hell of a hire. I really did. I think Kendall, his 3 years here were really good. Had one of the best offensive production-wise, one of the best years in school history in terms of yardage. But again, it's about scoring, right? And Kendall could do a little bit of that too. But give me Petrino. I mean, give me some other names, right? Give me a list of names, and then we could talk about it. But for now, based on what we know and who, of course, we got a long week to go. We got some other coaching changes that will happen. I'm sure there's going to be. I mean, we already have seen. We've already seen some coaching changes. No matter if it's Group of 5 or Power 4. Let's just see who's available out there. Assuming they don't get Petrino back, but give me a list of names who's available right now, and then let's talk. Right. But it is a little bit more complicated than that as well, because then you got to talk about what kind of personnel they'd be able to bring, what their offense is, and all that, what kind of changes you need to make. So Richard Miller says Tom Herman is available if we need an offense coordinator right now. Shaking my head, says Richard. Is that a realistic possibility, though? I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't care who's out there, Ty. Like I said, continuity. Yeah. And I agree with that, too. It's going to have to be someone, I don't know. I'm fine with Petrino coming back. If Sam, like Brett pointed out, if this is true, which I think it is, I don't see Sam retiring. I don't see anyone coming in and buying him out and all this. Then yeah, I'm fine with Petrino coming back. Let's give that quarterback, whoever that's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be Green. I'm assuming Malachi hits the portal. Hell, Green could hit the portal. I don't know. But whoever that quarterback's going to be, let's give him some weapons. Let's give him some protection. Let's have a balanced offense, but also, let's just give the quarterback the best chance to win games, because I don't know that was necessarily there all year. Like I said, I don't think this whole year is on Green or Petrino or Travis Williams or even the coaching staff. Like, at the end of the day, players have also got to execute on the field. So that is going to do it. I do appreciate you guys. We will have a post game for tomorrow. On your way out, make sure you like, share, subscribe. There's a link for Patreon and the Tusk Talk Discord. You may have to scroll up a little bit, or I can just reshare it for you. God, where is it? Here's the Discord link. If you guys want to join, just saying, it's gonna be crazy with the portal for the next little bit, and then of course we've got early signing period in coming up here really soon. You're gonna want to be in that Discord, because there's stuff we don't talk about even here. It's gonna be there either in the Patreon chat, most likely in the Patreon chat, that only Patreon supporters will have access to. All right. The name scroll coming up. Patreon should go through for the month of November on the 5th. So look for that, the new name scroll. Now we do it at the end of the show. That should be after the 5th, should be updated. And we'll have that list available in Discord as well. All right, you guys have a great Monday. I'll see you tomorrow night. And if there's any changes, we'll keep you up to date in Discord. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Ready, hut! Uh-oh. No.